Let's welcome. Today, our topic is the best practices of Ali Database DevOps, and I'd like to introduce myself first. My name is Heng, and I was graduated in April 2011. After then, I joined the database group of Alibaba, and now I am responsible for the development and design of the DevOps. And before, I was responsible for the operation and maintenance of some of the other products. And there are 4 parts of my introduction. First of all, I'd like to introduce the DevOps, and I'd like to talk about the challenges we have faced in the DevOps. And thirdly, I like to talk about the solution of DevOps. And the fourth one, I like to talk about the cloud-based data management, DMS. So what is DevOps? I like to give you our definition of it. It is based on the data products, and it will improve the automation of database development and enhance development efficiency and improve the database performance and access security. So what is it? Let's take a look at it. Inside the group, there are 3 different sub-products under DevOps. The first one is IDB. The previous speaker also mentioned that this is a corporate level data management service. We also have the Cloud DBA. This is the database optimization service. We also have the DB Pass. This is the database control service.
Today I'm going to talk about IDB, Alibaba Enterprise Level Data Management Service. Next, let's look at the challenges of Ali Database DevOps. In the last more than 10 years, we grow from hundreds of people to tens of thousands of people, and from web SQL, and we have different kinds of challenges along the way. So let's see what kind of challenges does IDB has. And in 2010, we developed the web account, and we can develop the freely queried data, and then we take the data back, but the efficiency will be impacted. That's why in 2011 we launched IDB 1.0. It's just a web SQL. So you can search for data on the web, and all the database changes needs to send an email. And then in 2012 we have launched IDB 2.0. All the changes can be submitted online and summarized. And for the rules of the database design can also be applied to the structure projects. And as time goes, we saw all the data changes have to be implemented by DVH. So in 2013, we have launched IDB 2.0. They can have self-help of the changes. And in 2014, we have launched DMS, Personal Data Management Cloud Service. And then in 2016, because of the business explosive development, and we didn't include the account of DBA, but we have launched the IDB 4.0. So it has achieved fully self-help of R&D, and we have also launched a product, database smart optimization service, that is Cloud DBA. After so many years, we have some thoughts and practices, and we want to use that also for the cloud enterprise. That's why we have done something in 2017, that is our DMS Enterprise Edition. Now let's look at the key challenges of DevOps. First, we need to support 20,000 developments. How can we achieve efficient structure design, SQL review, and change publish? But DBA can only handle 20 orders. That is also very good. And every week we have thousands of SQL waiting to be released, and we cannot allow any slow cycles. The business is changing, and we need to improve the efficiency, but we also need to care about the safety. Every week we have millions of data query and analysis, and we need to have control and operation audit with every employee's access of the database. So when we are facing these challenges, what are our solutions? And for the projects and for the database efficiency, how can we effectively do the publish of the database, and what kind of process do we need to have? First of all, as an R&D, you need to have a planning. You need to select the type of database, you need to assess the capacity, and you need to apply for resources. And then you need to design the structure and circle. And then for the test environment, you need to synchronize the database and tables, and you need to build the testing data, and then it needs to go to review before it is published, and you need to have the structural change and the data correction. So it is a fully self-help R&D process of database. Next, I'm going to share with you about a story. Story 1, how can R&D achieve self-help publish? And for new projects, for new products, and when they have applied for the database resources, but they don't know how to design, what are the things we need to pay attention to? So actually they need this. What is this? This is what we have accumulated with more than 30 structural design standards which can be applied to the structural design of the development. And like all these is like the prohibition of the keywords and master key on the table, etc. And we also need to have multiple persons synergy. Normally, it's more than 10 people who are working on one project. And the conflict testing and the change summary are provided. We also provide an DDL traceability for every DDL, at what time, by who, and for what project. And the development has done the structural design functions, and then the codes are provided for testing. And then we found that the table structure was not in line. Actually, it's a multiple environment release within an enterprise. We have different environments. We need to have pre-release offline environment testing. And how can we ensure the consistency of the database information? Otherwise, the test cannot be fully verified. Our solution is that we have the standard procedure. First of all the database release needs to be released offline in the pre-environment. And meanwhile, we also provide the synchronization of the table structure and database tables, which can achieve the structure and data in multiple environments are consistent. And we have done the development and testing. Now it's left for release. Traditionally, the developers will provide the DDL to DBA, so we can achieve the release. Normally, in the daytime, we will design what kind of DLs will be released and then set up the timing. And normally, the system will automatically implement the scheduling in the nighttime. And on the next day, we need to track the DDL execution results. And for the release, I want to say, for enterprise of some size, so we need to solve the problem of the capacity, like 1024. So the problems we have is when we have so many subforms, you don't know when you miss some of the sub-tables. So for this separate database and separate tables, all of the changes are for the logical database and logical table, and we will test the database log, and we will have the instance and also automatic grayscale change. Now let's review the self-help release of the R&D. So ultimately, we need to have the structural design standards corresponding to structural design and synchronization of the database and tables. Now let's look at the performance solutions. Solutions for performance, there are 4 points. First one, review before launch of Circle, space optimization, and Circle optimization during operation, and data. So I want to talk about automatic review before the launch of the business SQL. Normally after the development, we need to review the structure, no matter for some circle, maybe the view will not pass, like say select asterisk or SQL insertion or dynamic SQL, and then after the review is passed, and we will provide some suggestions. And I will not go to details because we will have a dedicated session for that. And for enterprise database safety, what kind of risks are there? What we have seen is for enterprise database can be accessed from apps or from the host, and it can be taken to the data warehouse, and it can also be backed. What we have been doing are these 4 parts, but is it really safe? And there's also a part that is human. The access of the employees is also the key things we need to address with DevOps. So for the access of the employees, there are 5 points, including the control of the queries and change control, authentication control, and data classification and safety review. Now I'm going to share with you also through a story. Let's look at the second story, employee access safety. It's still the development is released, and then the developer wants to check out the UV data on the online database. But what do we do without the database password and account? And internally on IDB, we can submit the authentication, and then it will get the approval, and then it will see in the second says it is the database owner. That means he's the owner of the database, and the database owner of the previous review node has already passed. And if it has passed the 3-month period, then it will click pass. And in the enterprises, we will have core or non-core data. For core database, we want to set stricter safety rules. Actually, the user can freely customize. Like we cannot run DML on a SQL console, and for DDL larger than 2 Gs, we need to take the review, and we need to have some stricter rules about that. Let's see, for sensitive data, and we also need to be very cautious. Even in the case of the sensitive data, we need to have strict approval. And what we are showing here that we can customize the approving line. We have an this is an interface of adding and process review line. You need to go through it should be passed by the owner, safety team, and DBA. As an DBA, I often have this problem, like the developer said that the online data is not correct, and there are several orders that are not in sync. Normally, we will take the backup level and then restore the data. For example, like 600 gigabyte database needs to be recovered. Are there any better solutions? Actually, based on the binlock encryption, and we can find the corresponding data. Are there any better ways? This is one of the features we have provided. This is the data tracking. So when the assignment was made to the employees, and the user can find the data online at what time, and what kind of changes have been made. And as a DBA, they need to know what are the operations they have done at what time. So we have provided a log, so we can check online and who has done what at what time and has been able to be queried, so that we will find some potential safety issues.
Now let's review the employee access database security. So we need to upgrade the database, and we should have automatic auditing, and we should define the data rules, and we should be able to deal with the safety issues. And correspondingly, the DevOps had provided such a solution. And the last area I'd like to talk about is the cloud-based DMS. And these have been used by most of you. So DMS provides services for the researchers, testers, data analytics, and operators. So we have DRDS, RDS, mixed cloud, etc. So on data resource, we would provide Postgre, NoSQL, Redis, Mongo, etc. And we also provide 4 different versions. And first, let's look at the free version and advanced version. So it's targeted on individual users, the startups, and SMEs. So for the free version, we will provide the basic data management and the service management. And for advanced versions, we will focus on more security aspects. For example, the stability management and the synchronization of the library and tables, as well as the performance optimization. If you are a business user and there are over 20 developers in your company, then we strongly recommend you to use this company version, because we not only have the safety monitoring and the control module, but also have the research development module. So on Ali Cloud, you could also download those versions. Now, let me briefly introduce each version. The business version, it is a database management system customized for each company. So we have a unified entry, but for company A, they will have a specific employee procedure, rules, and metadata, and it's the same for company B. So with those distinctive architect, we could construct a specific and a dedicated database management system for different companies. And for the advanced version, we will make the cloud data access more safe. For example, we will have the authorization, recognition, and access verification, the function authorization, verification, etc. And in the end, we can safeguard the database security. And at last, I'd like to introduce this new version, that is the mobile version. Now we are supporting the cloud database management, and later on we will continue to provide the support for the database R&D procedure and self-constructed IDC data management, as well as the database diagnosis optimization. Now let's